Hello, everybody. This is, I believe, our 20th episode. Is that possible? I think so, of Artificial Intelligence and Cybersurgery. I'm Dr. Andrew Gumbs, and I'll let my co-host, Dr. Vincent Grasso, introduce our illustrious guest.
Sure. Thank you, Andrew. And hi, Silvana. It's Vincent Grasso. I'm the social media director for our journal AI, our AI surgical journal dedicated to all things AI and surgery. Super excited to have Silvana on. Maybe call you Silvana. Is that okay? We're all on first name basis, right, Andrew?
Absolutely.
And
So,
please introduce, tell us all the wonderful things that you're doing because you have such an interesting background and current position at ERCAD. I'm sure the audience is excited to hear your side of what you're doing.
So thank you both, Andrew and Vincent. Delighted to participate. I am Silvana Perretta. I am an upper GI surgeon and also an interventional endoscopist. I'm interested in research, education, and entrepreneurship. I train both in Italy, in the US, and in France. I'm currently professor of surgery in Strasbourg, vice president of ERCAD, France, and the director of education at the IHU.
fancy.
Wow.
My goodness. So I thought I had traveled the world, but Silvana, please, the part that interests me that I want Vincent to know about is when you were in the United States, and interestingly, when you came back, that you decided to come back. So can you tell, I think it's always interesting for younger surgeons or medical students to realize kind of the complexities of switching continents and a little bit what that was like and why you decided to come back.
Oh, I have to be politically correct here. No,
Correct.
absolutely. No, I love traveling, and I decided that the world was my oyster. I didn't want to be really forced to live in the same country. Even loving surgery and really willing to have a surgical career, I looked for something that would allow me to explore the world and the seven seas. So I was extremely stubborn and determined as an intern, as a medical student and a surgical resident, and I disagree totally with the Italian training system, residency system. So when I was a second year medical student, I left for the United States, and I finished both my residency in Italy while doing a fellowship in the United States, where I lived for 5 years at UCSF San Francisco. And then it was a tough decision for me to quit the US, but I felt that I needed something more. And I felt that I was missing I was missing Europe. I was missing the culture. I was missing the people. And I felt that I wanted to evolve as a surgeon, because I think that while in the US, you guys, I mean, you're an example too, you have one of the best possible residency program. When you finish residency and you want to become an actual surgeon, you have to look abroad. And for me, ERCAD was the place. I made a list. I was very systematic. I made a list of places, and on the top I had ERCAD, and I'll explain you why. It didn't matter that it was in France, and France is a beautiful country, of course, but I was looking for a place that would allow me to grow as a surgeon, as an MIS surgeon, to grow as an upper GI foregut surgeon, to do research, education, to breathe an international environment, and to be free to think, free to live a professional and a healthy personal life. And that's why I chose to live the United States.
And I love Strasbourg is such a beautiful city, and the fact that it's on the border with France and Germany is amazing. And it's also one of the co-capitals of Europe, which people often forget, right? Is it the parliament that is there?
Exactly, the European Parliament. And that's a very interesting point because a lot of people, including Jacques Maresco, who's the president of ERCAD, always ask, why don't you get the French citizenship? I could, but I am a European, and I feel that I don't need that. I love to be Italian. I'm Italian in origin. I live in France. It's part of the UE. I just feel European. I want to live like that.
Fantastic. I love it. A woman after my own heart. That's fantastic. And as far as you're one of our editorial board members in artificial intelligence. ERCAD and the ESU have been really in the forefront of artificial intelligence for the last, decades. Really, mainly in computer vision. What do you feel are some of the future aspects? Some of the criticisms I get with artificial intelligence is that there's been a lot of devices created, a lot of computer vision, but not a lot of products. What do you feel are really the next steps in innovation? It sounds like you have a startup of your own, so I'm hoping you can give some insight to our listeners.
Well, I think that AI is a big term, a generic term, and I admire you because being the leading man behind the Journal of Artificial Intelligence, I think that you get a lot of criticism about the fact that in surgery, really, if we have to point to a product, there is none today. But there is certainly a lot of research going on assessing the surgical workflow, trying to use AI and machine learning to improve the way we look at training. And this is something that I think is going to be soon. Is going to be a reality soon. We do a lot of training at ERCAD. We train more than 7,000 surgeons every year, and we're looking at that. And since
is that just in France or in all of your centers?
No, just in France. That
Amazing.
is just in France.
Wow.
So it's a lot of people, a lot of data, a lot of very interesting data. Because I think that we all learn in a different way. Me, you, Vincent, we have different people, we have different learning curve. And the teaching is just the same for every one of us. So I do believe in personalized training and teaching. And artificial intelligence can help with that in accelerating the way we learn, focusing in what we do wrong. So really working on the legal boundaries of surgery, starting to address our own mistake, looking at our surgical videos, pointing out not to what we do well, but what we do wrong in order to correct it. And I think that that's something that is being done at the moment. And I hope it will turn soon into a product.
That reminds me, a lot of people in the United States don't realize how ERCAD is really around the world. Can you remind our viewers, our listeners, how many sites you have around the world, and kind of a little bit how different they are, how similar they are, because I'm really impressed how you are you're on every continent except Australia, I believe.
Yes. We are in Brazil. We have two South America. So we have two centers in Brazil, one in the area of Sao Paulo and one in Rio de Janeiro. We have one center in Taiwan, which was the first to be built outside France. We have a center that's been built in Wuxi in China. We have a center being built in the United States in Charlotte. We have, and that's probably the one that is closer to my heart, a center being built in Kigali, Rwanda, in Africa. And for now, that's it. We're looking at India too.
What about Beirut? I see that on the map
We have
sometimes.
a sister center in Beirut. Now, unfortunately, due to all the problem, it's not
Understood.
running at the moment. Yes, but we do have Lebanon too.
Interesting. And they're training. They do training just like you, mainly,
Absolutely.
or is it
They
also
do training.
research?
No, the main characteristic of IRCAD has always been to innovate. So if you want to innovate in surgery, you have to teach, of course, the latest technology, but you also have to have a research team. And the interaction between surgeons and engineers and entrepreneurs is fundamental, is the life and blood of innovation. And that has been a very peculiar characteristic of IRCAD since 1994, and I think that was the winning recipe.
And you went there when? How long have you been there?
Okay, that makes me very old. I
Oh,
went to France when you went to France. That would be
you look, you
2007.
haven't aged since I first met you,
Yes,
so I don't
exactly.
believe any of it.
Here comes the Italian blood out of Andrew Gumbs. Yes, it has been 16 years.
Wow, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What a wonderful journey that must have been. And you now have the IHU, which is still something I have a hard time understanding what it is.
The IHU is an IRCAD baby, is the image guided center for minimal invasive surgery. And the IHU was created in order to deliver precision surgery to patients using all imaging modality, simulation, intraoperative imaging, perioperative imaging, in order to improve the way we deliver care to patients.
Oh, fantastic. And so, Vincent, I'm going to let you ask Silvana about, sounds like she might have a startup that
Yeah,
we're
I mean,
we're very interested in this topic.
yeah, I was so excited to hear the understanding how important it is for physicians, especially surgeons, to work closely with technologists, engineers, right? Because that's, we came from that foundation, Andrew, in our training, right? When it wasn't popular, but having a startup is so cool. And the experience of being at IRCAD and your vast experience in the US and in your training, I bet you bring some interesting insights to your startup. And I know our audience is going to be very interested in hearing, what's the business value that you're projecting in your startup? Is it,
Silvana, I'm just going to interrupt you for a second because Vincent used to work at Yale. Actually, Vincent, tell Silvana a little bit about your background.
it's cool because I remember reading about Dr. Moresco. So in one of our papers, we referenced this. He was at a Rick Satava presentation in Germany, and he said his head was like on fire. He was so excited about what he learned from Rick, and that was part of the genesis of of building out IRCAD, right? For that foundation of Rick, the cybersurgeon that we know and love. So I was very fortunate, Silvana. I was a minimally invasive fellow at Yale University when Rick Satava ran the commercial space center that we had there. And I was the first graduate from Butch Ross's Top Gun program, which was really the first attempt to take intracorporeal suturing and have a formal training around it, right? To do it in a formality that you can score people and watch them progress and eliminate unnecessary errors, and muscle memory and all that kind of stuff was all being laid in at our center. And we had a technology center built into a surgical practice. I mean, the Department of Surgery had a commercial space center built into it. So seeing patients, doing research, it was so cool. A little ahead of the curve, hard to commercialize. But that was and Andrew went through the same program and at Yale. So that was our, kind of common bond. But you're doing cool things at IRCAD. I guess that's part of it. It's foundational insight, right? Andrew, Rick's Rick's early work?
Well, it's funny hearing you talk. I realized that what the innovation center that they had at Yale, which is no longer there, is like the dream that they had at Yale.
Yeah, the dream
was realized in Strasbourg, and it's mind blowing to me. I mean, Rick Satava taught me how to do gallbladders. I mean, it's crazy.
But you're both more than welcome to come and join us in Strasbourg anytime.
Wow. Cool as that.
So
let's hear about the startup then, Silvana. Yeah, this is exciting. That's more exciting now.
Well, actually, it's interesting because it's very similar to what you were discussing before. I'm creating this startup on education, the field of education, and it's called Evolving Education. And our first product is a plug-and-play simulator for endoscopy, flexible endoscopy.
Oh, nice.
Simulator that was created based on motion learning, so tracking the motion of the operator and the scope, synchronizing them, and then injecting into simulation. Is based on a video game interface, serious game interface, and the beauty
of— Oh my God, I want one.
Yes, is that you can literally plug and play it in any computer, any laptop, and will allow you to learn navigation and the basic skills of flexible endoscopy. The hardware is very real. It's a 3D mock-up that has the same mechanical properties of a standard scope, the same weight, but you just use an USB key to plug it into your computer. So our hope is really to democratize education, and starting with flexible endoscopy, and you gather a lot of information. That's exactly what I was talking about before.
Wow.
So you can have a quality control, a quality-based assessment of the students.
So I hate to take it back to America and Europe, but are you finding, do you find it easier to develop a startup in Europe, or are you getting more investors from say America or the UK, or how does your perspective on, in an ideal world, would you like your startup to be in Europe or America, or do you find no difference?
Well, unfortunately, I think Europe just shoot herself in the foot with MDR, and we're seeing a backflow of people going to the US now to develop medical devices, whereas 10 years ago was exactly the opposite.
Sure.
So the answer is very clear. If you're in the medtech business, go to the United States, don't come to Europe. That is very unfortunate. For people like me who are in the process of creating the startup, I'm very lucky because this area, Alsace, is a very rich area in deep tech. There are a lot of incubator accelerators and infrastructure for technology and for people who want to create startups. So I'm lucky from that point of view. But if I were developing a medical device, I would definitely look at the United States now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate thing that I've realized also. But we can still use the. That's the nice thing about knowing both continents is all
sure.
I'll say on that.
Silvana, are you able to build your prototype at ERCAT? Is that part of your your training environment?
Yes, we did. We started everything with a very generous grant from the National Agency of Research, which is ANR, and was over 1 million euros. So we were able to develop an e-learning platform together with the first prototype. So we ran already the validation study, which proved the non-inferiority with the standard of today, and we are ready to go. So we are looking for money.
Wow.
Actually,
Well, we have to have another
like
call,
everybody
Andrea.
else.
So yeah, no, definitely. Well, I mean, you both know, but I'm in the process of creating a startup with I should call her Professor Perretta's help, seeing as she'll probably be my boss and mentor on this. We're developing a device, and I'm just using this podcast to tell you the reason it's been delayed. Silvana, is one of the people I'm supposed to work with had the joyous occasion of having a child, and it took some time off. So hopefully this week we can get the process going again.
Perfect.
Sorry, boss.
Very good reason.
Yes, of course. And I also wanted to tell you that I saw Adrian Park in Cairo these last 2 days. So,
Fantastic.
So he says hello, and we'll leave it at that.
Hope to see him soon.
Yes, yes, yes. The feeling is mutual. So that's great. It was a pleasure to see him. And Lee Swanstrom and he sound like they're going to be neighbors soon. I don't know if you knew about that down in the south.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Down by Antibes and Cannes. So
Nice.
it's nice that they have summer. I think they're gonna have summer homes next to each other. So that's great.
So we can go and spend time there.
Exactly.
Surgical innovation in front of the Mediterranean Sea. How about that?
No, exactly. These are people that I've looked up to my entire life, and they have really figured out, how to live properly. And I'm very happy for them both, that they have that opportunity to have the beautiful view of the Mediterranean down there.
That's part of being a good mentor.
Yes, exactly.
How to live a good life.
Exactly. So, Vincent, I know you have to catch a train shortly, but I'm gonna let you wrap this up with any last-minute insights or thoughts on AI between the continents and.
Yeah, I mean, this is so exciting. I think I'd love to learn more to see how we can help Silvana with, perhaps with some introductions to some VC firms we know, or perhaps down the road beta sites here we can help you with, in the US, some of the hospital systems we work with and have good relationships with. Investors like seeing that you've got other places to go as you evolve. Anything we can do to help out, just let us know.
Fantastic. That would be fabulous. Thank you very much.
Great.
Pleasure.
All right, guys. Thanks. We made it happen. Have a great
Andrew.
rest of your weekend.
Silvana,
okay.
Good luck. We'll talk soon. Have a great weekend.
You too, guys. Bye-bye. Arrivederci.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Ciao.
Bye-bye. Ciao,
Bye.
ciao.
Ciao.